Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Paradigm Shift. Today we have an absolute stunner, an absolute leader in her field as our guest. So let's wait till she reaches. Oh, here she is. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Paradigm.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dipshika. It's such a pleasure to be there on your show and to be hosted by you.
Thank you so much. It's been a long time and you have been through a crazy journey. That's why I'm calling this HK Joshi 2.0. Let me quickly read a little bit about you and then we will tell the audience what we're going to discuss because that's a surprise as of now. Joining
All
us
right.
joining us today is Mrs. Harjeet Joshi ji, a trailblazing finance leader and a change maker. She's made history as the first woman chairperson and the managing director of the Shipping Corporation of India, which was simultaneously serving as director of finance, a rare distinction. With a strong foundation from ONGC and ONGC Videsh, and year of board level leadership, she is known for her integrity, strategic insight, and empowering people. Currently, she serves on key national and academic boards, shaping the future of India's maritime sector. Let's hear it from her. Welcome once again.
Thank you so much, Dipshika.
Okay, so everybody, we are going to talk about the journey around the last few years. What has Joshi ji gone through? And I remember meeting her at a function and she narrated something that I said, this must go on a live podcast because people need to be as strong as you are. So we're going to start with, I'm going to let you take the lead for this. What happened? And please reveal to the people what happened, and then I'll start with my questions.
Right. So, Dipshika, I have never sort of tried to hide or go undercover. I was very vocal about the fact that I was detected with cancer. And I also put up a LinkedIn post primarily for that reason because this incident happened to coincide with my superannuation from government service. And I had quite a few proposals in hand, and I did not know at that time how to respond to them because this somehow came unannounced and we were totally concentrating on this. So I did not know how to tell them what time to give them. So I thought the best way is to put it on social media, on LinkedIn, so that people know it for themselves and I don't need to give any explanations. I superannuated on 31st of May 2022, and around 18th or 20th of June, this was diagnosed. So within a month. And what I was told was there were indications earlier which I had ignored because I had so many multiple portfolios to handle. I just did not have time for myself. And on 8th of July, I mean, just after a month, my first chemo started. So this is how, I mean, it went so fast. I mean, there was just no time to think because I had crossed stage 2 and I was just entering stage 3, and the doctors said I had already delayed it. So no further delay.
So at this point, I want you to tell our audience what are the first signs, what did you ignore, and how should one actually kind of look out for these signs and, get an early intervention. Can you please just kind of tell our audience about this?
Right. So this is why, Deepshika, I agreed to this podcast because I would like to spread awareness about this and increase the confidence of people that, this is perfectly curable. The very fact that I sit here 3 years hence and I'm able to talk like a normal person should give confidence to a lot of women out there, even men for that matter. So the first signs is I had started feeling, even prior to my retirement, a lot of fatigue. And it's like you're dragging yourself and you're not feeling fresh. So those signs were there, and which I discussed with my husband, and he told me that this is because you've been such a workaholic and you've been so super active that now that you're closing in on your retirement, you are sensing that fatigue of doing multiple portfolios. However, I felt there was something quite wrong, and I would recommend everybody to get their regular health checkups done. And where women are concerned, their mammography is a must, especially, of course, nowadays, a lot of young girls are also getting detected with these cancers, but a regular health checkup, and there are ways to do your physical health checkup yourself as well. So you must feel your body and see if there are any nodes or any lumps which are not normal and which are painful. And that is how I detected it myself.
Oh,
Because
wow.
I was doing my physical examination and I detected that there was a certain lump which was getting painful, and I watched it for a week, and somehow I felt it was getting bigger. And that is the time when I took a decision of going to the doctor and getting it checked.
Right,
And you will have these other symptoms like fatigue, headache. You can't do your normal work. So symptoms will set in, which will give you an indication that there is something not quite normal. But
right,
if you do your regular health checkups, it gets diagnosed pretty easily. So if you recollect 2019 to 21 and practically even till 22 when I retired, COVID was still on.
yeah,
And during the COVID, the annual health checkups had got suspended
right.
because of other priorities. And that is how this got neglected. And
Oh,
I think once I superannuated, I had all the time in the world to immediately attend to it.
okay. So when you were first diagnosed, so this you told me about what led to the diagnosis. So when you got this diagnosed, I remember when we were at a marine event and you told me about it. You told me the exact reaction. So please tell us about that. What happened at that point, and how did you take it forward? And I think I wanted to say this line at the end when I was typing out your name in one of my intros, and I said, Harjeet is somebody that will win everything. So this is what you really are. I think your parents so mindfully kept this name for you that you are going to win every parao that you come on to. So anyway, tell us
Right.
about that day when you got first diagnosed.
So, like I told you, I've realized that this lump is getting larger, and it was paining also. And
Yeah.
you somehow have this intuition. I've,
Yes.
I've always, for me, my intuition has always been very strong.
Yeah.
So I knew there was something quite wrong. And
Yeah.
when I was talking at home to my husband, we are just two of us at home,
Yeah.
and he feels that I am always, getting deep into trouble. So when I told him about it, he told me that, listen, now you've got all the time in the world,
Huh.
so you are just imagining things because you are currently idle. So my appointment with the doctor also I took myself
Okay.
because uh, you know uh, I think this was something that you shy away from. So my
Yeah.
husband did not want to acknowledge, because I think that happens with everybody. You never want to see your loved one in trouble or in pain. So
Correct.
you try to you try to shoo it away, that no, this is not a it's not happening. It's not a reality.
Right.
But since I knew it, I took the appointment myself and I told him I'm going to see the doctor. So obviously he came along with me. And the doctor immediately on doing the physical examination itself,
Hmm.
she confirmed it right there at the on the examination stretcher that it's 100%. And she immediately called up the radiologist and she told that please arrange for her biopsy right away. So she said, I don't even want you to wait for getting the mammograph and the ultrasound done and come with the reports. I'm so sure of it that right away the biopsy should be done along with the mammography and the ultrasonography. So
Right.
that was her level of confidence. And I have got tremendous confidence in this doctor of mine. She's a family doctor. So she gave me an appointment maybe for the next day. And I was like absolutely normal. I said, okay, because I am so used to having these challenges being thrown at me. So I said, okay, one more. Maybe, this is something which I've also put on my LinkedIn post that I always had this overconfidence that I don't have any health issues. And that is the reason I was leading a very fairly active career. And people in the office used to often comment, where do you get these energy levels from?
Oh,
And so I thought this is probably something I've never faced. So God wants to see how I would face if I was to have a physical medical issue, because that I had never had in my life.
oh my God.
So my husband's jaw had dropped. I think it had already reached his knee by that time when the doctor, and he was like carved in stone. Literally, he took it so badly
Yeah.
because and this is what happens, the caregiver or your partner, once it happens on you, you've got to endure it, there's no way. But see, it's I've experienced, if something happens to my children, I
Yeah.
get terribly impacted and affected by it. So whoever is close to you will never appreciate or admire or take it in his stride or her stride. कि ठीक है, हो गया तो हो गया. I mean, I don't think this is a reaction from a loved one.
Correct.
So I think my husband reacted absolutely normally. He didn't like it. He
Right.
didn't want to accept it. And
Right.
then, of course, we got the biopsy done and it was confirmed. So the markings were done, and my doctor helped me to get connected to an oncologist because the waiting is very long. But because my case was fairly advanced, so she wanted that the treatment should start immediately. And I told you, 8th of July, my first chemo started within a month of my retirement.
You said waiting. So waiting for chemo is very long?
Uh, Waiting for getting even an appointment with the top doctor nowadays is, you don't get
Oh,
appointments very easily
oh.
with the top doctors.
All right.
So getting an appointment for a consultation and for him to confirm the diagnosis and to explain the treatment and to start the treatment.
Okay.
So chemo is no waiting. Once the
Okay.
thing is done, I mean, that is pretty fast.
All right. So how long was this journey of healing, chemo, and then when you became cancer free? How long was this
Uh,
journey?
so it's a very interesting thing, Deepshika. My doctors, my oncologist also felt I was a perfect case for a case study because into three chemos, the signs had vanished. And that
Whoa.
is what I mean. You have to go through your tests to determine. So, when my scans were done, no traces were found. And you have a particular scan which is done under nuclear medicine where your whole they put a dye and then they do it. So that is where my husband said, देखा मैंने पहले ही कहा था कि कुछ नहीं है. How can it vanish if you are into stage 3? How can it vanish in 3 chemos? And he said, I'm dead sure कि कुछ भी नहीं था. So,
हो
in
भी
any
सकता
case,
है, HKG, हो भी सकता है, because right now I really really appreciate the doctors, but right now in a lot of places there it is a racket, so ho bhi sakta hai, he could be right, we should give him some credit.
I still give him credit, but I think I had to go through it
Yeah.
for whatever reasons. It was destined, and probably it was a test of my because, like I said, I've never had a medical emergency
Yes.
personally. So probably how I would cope with it, because it's happened in my career that I did pretty well in certain things, and then my management in ONGC felt, you're good at this, we don't know whether you'll be good at something else or not, so let's rotate you, put you on some other assignment. So I think probably this is similar like this, that how would I have coped with a medical emergency.
Right.
So
So
I think
God
I had
was,
to go through it to
yeah. So
so
God was just trying to test you. So you come out very strong. So what were the physical and the mental challenges really that you had to face? I mean, internally as well as externally.
so like you very rightly said, I am quite strong, and Dipshika, you'll agree with me that women are much stronger than men
Yes.
emotionally.
Yes.
And I think even though we are considered as the weaker sex, but I think we are even biologically stronger because we give birth to children and we go through that. So I don't think we are really uh,
We
weak
can.
in any way. So, like I said, my husband was there and I saw his agony. And so, when you see a loved one and you see what's happening to the other person, and if you are the stronger one, then you don't think about yourself at that time. You feel that you've got to help the others also alongside. And I am the strongest one in the family, and my children also didn't take it very well. And my children were awfully angry with me that I had, uh, really worked very hard in shipping corporation for the last 7 years, and they attributed it to all that stress and difficult times of the COVID
Yes.
when I was handling the company, and they felt enough is enough, and now you're not going to work. So that was their first condition. And my son very sweetly told me, Mom, do you realize that shipping corporation can get another CMD, but I'll never get another mom. So kindly ensure that whatever, no matter how workaholic or career oriented you are, you got to ensure that you take care of yourself for us. And I think that was a bell which rang, that I'm not going to take on a full-time job now, even though those were the plans when I had superannuated, because I was at the peak of my career. And I mean, I had created a name and a reputation for myself in the industry. But that one sentence from my son made me realize that no, you know, I don't have to only live my life. I've got to see how my life is impacting the life of my near and dear ones.
Absolutely.
So there was no fear for me. In fact, it was the determination that I have to come out of this for
Yeah.
them.
Right. Absolutely. So, you've already taken care of my next question, but if you'd like to add, who was your strongest support system during the journey? And you already said how they've reacted to this, how they have taken this. But if you like to take a mention, and you already said that you had to kind of counsel them out of the shock. But if you'd like
No,
to,
I didn't have to counsel them because the chemo started and my deterioration had started. But the point is that I was not in fear. I was somehow that confidence or that determination was there, that I'm going to come out of this unscat and get back to normal. So that determination was there. But yes, the biggest support was my husband. He was my caregiver because he was the only one at home. And my daughter and my son are both abroad. But my daughter the chemo, even though it was very difficult, and she came even for my surgery, which was again at very short notice, but despite that, she made it. So,
Wow.
your immediate family is always your strongest support. And
Absolutely.
I've been blessed. I've been really blessed that, I had lovely caregivers. My husband, he cooked for me because, during the chemo, you got to eat absolutely fresh food. These are small things which, we don't realize because, and that is the time when I realized that the bacteria really multiplies very fast in cooked food, which is kept. So I was not supposed to eat anything raw, and the food had to be fresh. I could not eat outside food, no spices. So my food had to be totally different. So it was the patience of my husband who used to cook. And, during chemo, you are puking and you can't digest, intake is not there. He would cook something for me. I would take a spoon and I would reject it and I would say, I can't have it. And what has been cooked, I can't reheat and eat it. That goes waste. I mean, that somebody else would have it, but I couldn't have it. So uh, my system would not accept it. Then after half an hour, again something is, I mean, it's a lot of effort for a caregiver, a lot of patience, because the person is making something out of love and affection for you, and your body is not accepting it, and you're rejecting it. And then you say, no, you want something else. So, मतलब एक जने का तो full time काम हो जाता है
Right.
because nutrition for you becomes very important in addition to the medication, and
Right.
that is a very very challenging phase and very difficult for a caregiver. So that was something which my husband was doing because it was still COVID time. My immunity had started going low and I could not eat outside food, and hygiene was very important. So he did not want to trust a maid cooking for me. So he made that decision that he'd cook himself. So
Wow.
I tell you, I sometimes feel if I had to do it, probably I would fail. I would not have that much of patience. And I
Wow.
think that impacted him quite a bit, because you are seeing a patient deteriorating because every chemo would take you down. So by the time I had finished my first 6 chemos, Deepshika, my hemoglobin had gone down to 6.8. And
Wow.
within 1 month of your main chemo concluding, the surgery has to be done because the chemo is killing those cancer cells. So before they again start multiplying, the surgery has to be done. That is very, very important. And with a hemoglobin of 6.8, the on-call surgeon refused to operate on me because he said
Okay.
there is going to be blood loss. It is going to be so these are the type of problems which came up because until and unless your hemoglobin picked up, you could not, your platelet count is down, your hemoglobin is down, and a surgery is to be performed. So that is what chemo does to you. It not only kills the cancer cells, but it also kills your good cells. So of course they did do interventions to ensure that my hemoglobin came up to the level to sustain a surgery. But because that month was closing and they had to do it somehow. Uh,
Correct. Correct.
so, so I think it was really a very difficult phase for my husband because he was all alone, even though my daughter was coming and visiting, and she also came primarily because she knew she had to give support to my husband, because he would not be able to see me, uh, even when I had gone for my, when my children were born,
Yeah.
even that time, when I went for my surgery, oh my God, even at that time when it's something very normal, I know my husband had really.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so,
I know
so, so
because
this is.
men are such strong people, but I remember even Sanjeev, that's the first time I think he cried when I was having an ectopic pregnancy and when it was diagnosed and he had tears. I think that's the only one time that he's cried other than, loss of his parent. So I know what you're saying. Right.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
carry on.
So he's been in this entire journey. He is one person who has been the most affected, and I think the scars of that remain still, because
Yes.
something which affects you mentally, uh, you it goes deep down,
Yes.
and it takes time to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. You know what hit me most in the last answer that you've given me is that no food that is cooked can be kept and the bacteria will multiply. And I'm thinking, oh my God, we are eating things out of the fridge all the time. I mean, thoda extra ban gaya, it'll go in the fridge, next day it'll come out, or it'll come back in the evening. So, do you also, I mean, I want to know if you know that, have the doctors told you that this can also be a cause? I mean, I know your stress levels in SCI, but do you also think that these things that are lifestyles also can cause this kind of a thing?
See, if you during this time when I was diagnosed, I think my whole family, my son, my husband, my daughter incidentally is in the medical field, so she knows a lot. She's working with AstraZeneca. So, all of them, I think, did all possible research, read all medical information bulletins, encyclopedias about people's experience, uh, what causes cancer and what is to be done.
Okay.
So so this is something which I even asked my doctors about. So the doctor said, please do not feel guilty. There is nothing that you could have done to have avoided this, because the cause are still not known, even though, of course, our lifestyles, stress, because the stress is impacting your body, your cells respond to it. So that is there. Weight, obesity is also an issue. Like I have been told very, very categorically by the doctor post my treatment that, weight gain is a big no, because fat cells help to promote cancer cells.
Yes.
So
Yes.
these are the type of information, but as soon as my targeted therapy had completed, my doctor myself told me, you want
Mm.
to feel good, go eat outside. So he told my husband, take her out for a dinner, let her enjoy. So, it's like okay, your body should get acclimatized to normal living, and our lifestyles have changed, yes. But I would request all our viewers that please do take care of your health. Be conscious that being healthy needs not only physical going to the gym, but even your mentally being positive is very important, because I feel it's your mental health which can conquer your physical health as well, which I felt happened in
Absolutely.
my case as well. So do some form of physical exercise to keep yourself fit, and also do any form of meditation, or do whatever it is that can calm your mind. I do both things. Do physical exercise as well as keep some control over your thought process. So both things
Absolutely.
should be done simultaneously.
Absolutely. This is so well said, and it is the need of the hour, because this is exactly what I say in our prana sessions, that when we were in the evolution stage, our fight and flight mode used to be that, okay, sher aaya, and then you have to fight. But right now, from the minute you get up, it is something that is gnawing in your brain, which is telling the amygdala to kind of give out those, an overdrive of cortisol, your maid's not coming on time, or the internet not working, or, preparing for a presentation, or whatever it is, there are so many little things that keep on gnawing at your, and then I keep feeling, because while I'm teaching this to others, I'm also living in a household full of people with a lot of work and everything. And I constantly feel that, that there is some kind of stress building up here and here, and I'll be like breathing or humming, or trying to do something to calm that down. Calm, calm, calm. So I totally agree 100% with you. So, coming up to the next question. So, you have come out of your healing journey, and you said that it was overlapping with your retirement. So, we've talked about the big C, and now we'll talk about the big R. Like everybody says, that kursi hai to sab hai, kursi nahi hai to nahi hai. So, imagine both these things coming together for you. This was like a double whammy. How did you prepare yourself for this transition in your head, or please tell us about this?
So before we move on to the big R, on my support system, and I would just like to add one thing.
Sure.
I had, my immediate family I've talked about, but even my extended family, both from my maternal side as well as from my in-laws side. uh, there was so much of moral support from friends, from well-wishers. And if you see my LinkedIn posts, I mean, even I would give a big thank you, take this opportunity to give a big thank you to the maritime industry also. I had a lot of well-wishers and a lot of prayers. And I'm sure everything matters, every drop in the ocean matters. So, it's my friends, my well-wishers, my extended family, all of them, who were constantly following up, checking with me, and giving me, a small line, a small word, which, peps
Absolutely.
you up and makes you feel. I mean, I think all of them need a mention in my supporting in this journey.
So
And
nice.
Dipshika, this is my learning from my Christ with cancer, that a lot of people even distantly help me fight it by just connecting, and it mentally gives you the strength. And after that, I used to regularly go to a dentist, and she got a very young girl with just a small baby of 3 years old, a girl, and she got detected and she connected with me, and I held her hand through the journey.
Wow.
And this is where I realized, even if you may not be related by blood, but support, help, confidence, encouragement, just telling them, that I also went through it and look at me now, is a big booster. So
Absolutely.
that is something which I do very quietly. If I come to know, I go out of my way, take out my time, even visit them during their chemo, and tell them I've gone through it.
Wow.
And of course, it makes a lot of difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is absolutely wonderful. What you've just said, that helping out. So, seva. One of my mentors said, seva is the biggest form of prayer, and what you're doing, even silently, is, I think, absolutely. Like you said, that there was your support system, and then if you can be a support system for others, I think that is wonderful. Absolutely. So, tell us a little bit about the big R.
So I think, Dipshika, I believe a lot in destiny.
Right.
I think there are things which you can't control, like my Christ with cancer. It was something which I could not have controlled. It wasn't something which I could have shooed away. It happened. And my retirement, At that time, I was, like I said, at the peak. So having done a lot of things which were path breaking, and I was riding quite high at that time, and I
Yes.
planned to continue on the same way. And I think it was God's way of saying, stop. He hit the pause button and gave me the message. And I think, and after that, I told you my son's statement. So, so I think and that's why I was very positive about it. Probably, life for me needed to change. And my son told me one more thing. Mom, tell me, whom do you want to prove yourself to? You've already proved yourself. And we who are most dear to you already know what you are. How does it matter what the world thinks?
Wow.
It's more important what we think about you, and we know you, mom. So you
Wow.
don't need to prove yourself to anybody. And enough is enough. We know what you are. So I think it was a pause button, and it was a divine intervention. And so I don't take my cancer negatively at all, because I felt it was something which I had to get over. And, it's increased my confidence, because you were so close to death. You literally, and that's why I think your today's format of 2.0 is very, very relevant. Yes, this
Yes.
is my second life. It's not
Wow.
only my second innings, but it's my second life.
Wow.
So, Deepshika, it was divine intervention. It was a pause button. It happened simultaneously. Like I told you, I retired on 22nd of May 2022, and 8th of July 2022, I had my first chemo. And despite my chemo, I was still going for events, and um, I was invited as chief guest also, guest of honor also, as a speaker also. And I used to schedule my chemo. I used to request my oncologist, can we shift it by 3 days, 4 days? And he used to tell me, you are crazy. I've not come across a patient. तेरे को अपनी जान की नहीं पड़ी है, तुझको इवेंट पे जाना है. मैंने कहा, no, I am absolutely normal. So he actually admired that spirit, and he said, yes, that's very important for your recovery. Feel you are normal. Feel
Right.
nothing is wrong
Right.
for you. So do
Right.
whatever you can. So, of course, those were very difficult times. And I once again appreciate my husband. He escorted me everywhere, because I was not in a condition to go, even though he is not in any way related to the maritime industry. So, it may not be of great interest for him to sit through the entire event. But because I needed that support and I could not be left alone, and I had medications which had to be taken, which he used to be always carrying in his pocket, and
Wow.
taking me to events. So he's been a great pillar, he's been a great support. And now that he sees I'm absolutely normal, he says, now don't punish me, please go on your own. So, but he's done it. He's done it for a pretty long time.
Right. So you both won this race against cancer together. So that is so beautiful. So when you were so before you knew about so like when like I told you in our conversation earlier that normally when people are nearing their retirement age, they already start to kind of deteriorate in their heads, and they're like, oh my god, now my life is finished. And retirement is treats hits people differently at different times, because somebody is at a stage where you are probably an empty nester, somebody's kids are married, somebody's kids are not, you have savings, you don't have savings, different kinds of things hit you. So I mean, for you, were you planning on this transition? Were you already, like you said, you had planned, but this happened. So, how did you kind of in your head say that okay, ये pause button हो गया है, but I will transition in this space? How did that happen?
So Deepshika, like I've mentioned, here there was a conflict between me and my family. My family has tremendously supported me throughout my career. Otherwise, I wouldn't have reached the peaks of my career that I had.
Right.
But after this pause button, they were not supporting me because they did not want me to do anything. They just wanted me to sit back and enjoy. And especially my son did not want me to take any stress whatsoever. Because, of course, in my case, I think it was a lot of stress which led to this. Because I had three full time portfolios, which is
Yes.
very rare. And over and above that, we had the difficult times of COVID throughout for me. So they post cancer, they did not support me for my career.
Right.
And it is like I'm literally, जिसको कहते हैं ना, like a small child who wants something and wants to ask the parent, and then they find the right opportunity कि कैसे इसको बोलो कि भाई मुझे जाना है. So I am now in that situation because they feel क्या जरूरत है, मतलब तुमने अब कर लिया, now just rest and relax. And they really want me to enjoy life, take it easy. But I think I still have that fire burning in my tummy.
Yes.
And I have that raging fire, and I'm sure it's going to be there till my deathbed. And I have this need to do something. I cannot stay idle. I cannot just while away my time. And in fact, that's the reason I have even become very selective about my networking and the events to which I go, because I just don't want to hang around. Because somebody told me, why don't you come? It's a good opportunity to network. So I said, me network?
Me?
What for?
What
What
for?
for? I don't need to network. So that was something which made me realize I'm not going to go for events where I'm not going to be able to add value. I'm going to be
Right.
selective. And
Yeah.
at least that was another thing which would ease a little bit of pressure from my family also. कि ये तो she's back to her normal pace.
Right.
She's doing everything again. So,
Correct.
so the transition, Deepshika, that you said was one thing was that the decision was taken after the pause button, which was a change, which was consciously I had to rethink about what would be the avenues where I would not have to do a morning to evening job or rushing to the office every day, but still stay gainfully engaged. Mentally, intellectually. I have because I've been working for 40 over 4 decades.
Wow.
So it's not easy to just, I was just 21 when I got into my first employment as a lecturer.
Wow. Wow.
So 21 is, so I started very early and I've been working all along. So it's very difficult for me not to work. But I wanted to then redefine my engagements in a manner so that I would take it at a slower pace and take it at my own pace rather than, doing. So so definitely, even though I had options for joining as a CEO, which would have been very demanding because people knew my capacity to take on. So
Right.
I said no, no.
No.
So I'm going to be selective, and I'm going to be not working like a slave morning to evening. I'm going to be choosy where I can add value, I can contribute from my experience and my knowledge. So I became
Absolutely.
selective about my engagements after the pause button. So that
Absolutely.
that was a transformation. That was something I had to think. Uh, Dipshika, with my experience, there's no dearth, but I have to decide what I want to do because I can't agree to slog anymore because my family will not support that.
Correct. Absolutely. No, so, I know you so well, and I know that this is what feeds your soul. Absolutely. You're a workaholic and you are good at your work, and you have strategically turn around organization. My father thanks you eternally for turning around the payment systems, in SCI, because it was such a mess before that, and you've really turned that around. So I am sure that, you get that satisfaction out of all of this. So I know it's like I know what you're saying when I have to look at the right time and then I have to ask, can I go for this? You're like back in your teenage years when, this. And when you said I've worked for 40 years, so I'm thinking, okay, she must have started working when she was 10, because you don't look a day older than 50. I can't even say 50, but now you said 40 years, so I have to say 50.
And that's after my tryst with cancer. So I mean that the viewers should feel a lot of confidence that in fact there have been a lot of people who've told me I glow much more now than I did when I was working, you know.
आई
So
नहीं नहीं, आपको नजर ही लग जाती होगी, तो आप हर दिन आके नजर उतार लीजिए करिए, स्पेशली विद मी, एंड आई एम लाइक ऑलवेज लुक एट योर sarees and the glow, and every time the way you present yourself at every marine event, it's amazing. Okay, so now we come to, so the big C, the big R, and now the big PhD. So what is this all about? Tell me again, your soul needs food.
So you are right, Deepshika. Like I said, I have this urge to be creative, you know, to do something which is innovative. I've never been able to walk the beaten path, you know. I've always tried. I mean, I can't do that. If it is mundane, if it is monotonous, I'm done. So that's why my family tells me that we don't know whether you attract challenges or you go and seek challenges. We've really never been able to so
Right.
far. And even for this, my husband told me, now you're crazy. So you know, you have to give an entrance exam to do. And I had just finished my targeted therapy in October, and this exam was in December. And I told him, चलो सिर्फ देखते हैं, you know, I just want to assess myself. So, you know, he also felt that she will not clear it because अभी तो इसका कुछ पढ़ा वढ़ा भी नहीं है. And, you know, I had already taken a break from my career also. At that time, I wasn't doing anything as such because I was still going through my targeted therapy. तो
Right.
मैंने कहा एग्जाम देते हैं देखते हैं, you know, and for me, you know, I don't shy away. I actually wanted to assess myself. Where do I stand now so that I could then carve my path for my future career. I needed to do a self assessment myself, you know, and I never like to cheat people by my history and by my background.
Wow.
You know, I pick up something. I wanted to know where I am standing today and whether I'm good enough to go and, you know, do a consultancy or an advisory for somebody. So I told him कि सिर्फ टेस्ट करते हैं. तो उन्होंने भी सोचा ठीक है कर लेने दो इसको, you know.
जा
ये
सिमरन
था
जा अपनी जिंदगी जी ले.
उनको भी ये था जैसे बच्चों का होता है कि चल ठीक है कर लेने दे. तो फिर रिजल्ट आ गया, हमने क्लियर कर लिया एंड आई वाज प्रोबेबली अमंगस्ट द टॉपर्स एंड देन आई हैड टू गो फॉर द इंटरव्यू. फिर वो इंटरव्यू भी क्लियर हो गया एंड देन आई हैड अ
Honestly
डेडलाइन
doing
टू पे
this.
द and then I had the deadline to pay the fees. So you know, I laugh about these things because, but somehow I think my family loves me for this because I keep them on their toes because I keep doing something. I bring that life, you know, I don't let
I'm
anybody.
trying so hard here. I'm like literally wiping tears laughing. हाँ बोलिए.
मतलब तो बच्चे तो मुझको वर्किंग टाइम पे कहते ही थे ना इसको खुद को आराम है ना ये किसी और को आराम करने देती है.
Oh God.
डेडलाइन आ गई फीस पे करने की. Then I'm again, you know, I'll tell you one thing that you, as a government servant, if you've lived an honest life, at retirement, you only get 10 lakhs of gratuity, which is peanuts. वो तो मेरी सर्जरी की भी, it could not
Correct.
pay for my surgery also.
Right.
So, you've had 4 decades of career, but practically you've got empty pockets as compared to any other corporate, if I had had at this type of a level,
Yeah. Yeah.
compared to that.
Right.
And if you've been an honest government servant, so you don't have so
Big
maybe
pocket.
and all I've practically done most of my education after my marriage. That is another thing which I would like to say. My husband has always supported me for maybe he feels कि ठीक है पढ़ती रहने दे busy रहेगी less problem or whatever is that's on a light
Oh
that's on a
God.
lighter
We
side.
should get him in the next interview. We should 3.0. We should have him on the interview.
Yeah, sure. So, I was just a postgraduate when I got married. So, my professional degree of being a cost accountant was post my marriage. My MBA was post marriage, and he has always paid my fees, and he's always, made the envelopes to submit my assignments and
So
do
sweet.
things. So he's always been there, passively supporting me. तो मैंने कहा फीस पे करनी है तो
They
he,
know.
he he has to pay because fees is also quite a bit. So
Right.
then of course he paid the fees and the journey started. And you asked me why I did it. So I said it was just to test myself. But it's like one thing leads to another. It did not stop. I cleared the exam. I cleared the interview. And another thing is, not many people know I started my career as a lecturer. And I had already done my MPhil, but I had not submitted the dissertation at that stage. So I did
Okay.
not get a degree for my MPhil.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it was always there that uh, I had to do research. So it was an unfulfilled
Wow.
agenda of 21 when I was 21. So
Oh,
now I felt I had the time. So that is the main thing, that the agenda of being at 21 remained unfulfilled. And cancer taught me that you may never have another tomorrow. So
wow.
start now. Don't
Wow.
wait.
Wow.
And the fact that I cleared my exams, and Dipshika, I would also like to share with you here that I have to do compulsory coursework in the first year of my PhD to uh, be able to get into actual research. And I've taught many of my coursework material,
Wow.
and makes me feel good that the cancer did not destroy my gray cells. It only destroyed my.
Wow. Wow. Thank
And
God.
this is to validate your own capability, capacity, that you remain valid to despite the Gen Z being there, because of course there was a lot of Gen Z appearing for those exams, but I
Right.
topped.
Right.
So I think experience also, there is no substitute for it, and I think I've been able to match my IQ with them. Uh,
Wow.
so that so that gives me a little bit of a kick. I do it
So
for the kick of it also. That I am not.
good.
I'm young at heart, but then I got to see that my gray cells are also young. So I keep
Wow.
checking that.
Wow, so beautiful. So, any paradigm shifts? You already mentioned the paradigm shift when you heard your son say what he said. So, paradigm shifts during cancer and during retirement, and also while continuing the PhD. And also, please tell us about, I don't like to interrupt you, so also tell us about what your subject is and how is it going to help um, the sector of people. So please tell us a little bit about that.
So Dipshika, before I tell you that, while I was telling you that I like to compete with the Gen Z intellectually, not
Right.
not for any other thing, but to say that they cannot discard the senior citizens saying "बूढ़े हो गए हो." We are as
Absolutely not.
relevant as them. But a small secret which I'd like to, because this is going to be on record now. Uh, when I was about to get married, I was into a little bit of my cost accountancy. I had already started. I completed it after my marriage, and my husband used to, of course, not that at that time, not my husband,
Mm.
and we were colleagues only in ONGC, and he used to go and check my result. He used to be more anxious in going and checking my result. मैंने check करती थी, and when Marks used to come, he used to be so super impressed, and he used to feel very proud that she scored 76, scored 82 in papers, and that was before my marriage. So I think now I also do it for him, even though he may not realize it. I want to make him feel that this senior citizen woman is still as good as the young girl to whom you proposed. She
Oh,
was good academically then. I'm still intellectually good now. So I think I
absolutely.
do it also for my husband. And so you do small things in different ways and you do it for everybody. And the fact that I was uh, studying throughout during my post marriage with my children, it impacted my children, and that is how my children have done very well. So, and I think my doing my PhD today also helps my children because they realize that even after this cancer, she has not given up. You are silently sending a message across to everybody, and
Ripple
it
effect.
does influence. Now, coming to the subject, I am basically a finance specialist, and since I've superannuated as the CMD of Shipping Corporation of India, so the best thing for me to do was to do some research in the maritime industry, not for the sake of a degree. So this is an unfulfilled dream of a young girl of 21, but today with the objective that my research should lead to some good, some benefit for the nation. We should be able to find something which is valuable and could become policy recommendations for the government. Because out of my experience and insights, even if I was to give some recommendations, it would not get substantiated until and unless it was backed by research.
Mhm.
So my research is not a pastime. It's not something which I'm doing just for the heck of it because I now have the time. It is a lot of serious and hard work. Like I told you, I've topped in my coursework, so I'm not doing it lightly. And I feel my research should be able to give some policy recommendations to the government. And my area remains maritime finance because finance is my specialization.
Lovely.
Incidentally, I wanted to deviate from finance. And during when I filled up my form, I had gone more for skill education as a research subject because I'm very good at that because I think women are generally good at that. So during my interview, I was told, no, when you're so good at finance, and we actually don't have finance specialists in the
Wow.
maritime industry. In fact, I am the only qualified finance specialist active today in the maritime industry. So with that
Wow.
distinction, they told me you are just the right person to do research in finance, but not in shipping. Because shipping, you know in and out, and research has to be something which you don't know about. Because there should be no preconceived notions, and you have to research and find things. So you cannot do it in an area which you know like the back of your hand, and that is how shipping was not permitted for my research. So I'm going to be doing it in some other area. Let me zero down on my area of research. Maybe we'll come up and share that in your paradigm shift 3.0.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I was just thinking when in your interview they said you can't do maritime, you'll have to do it. So I said
No,
one
no,
more
it's
challenge.
maritime. It's
Huh.
maritime finance. It's
Maritime.
maritime finance. So that
Okay.
is the umbrella, but I have to zero down on the exact topic and the subject. So
All
it
right.
is not going to be shipping.
Okay, that's what I said, that they've again given you a googly, like again another challenge. कि, okay, she's, she can do it, so okay, do it. So this is amazing. So you've talked about everything. Now I want you to, since we're coming towards the end of our thing, I want you to give us a message for everybody that is fighting cancer, everybody that is already retired or is going to approach retirement, and everybody that is, afraid to get into any kind of learning at an age that you are. Just saying that, okay, my gray cells won't work or whatever, so that, this can be a message for all our viewers.
So, Deepshika, message for anybody who's fighting cancer. Today, technology is very, very advanced. In fact, when I was diagnosed, from there to now, also technology has improved. Technology for detection, for treatment, diagnosis, medication is so, so, so advanced. Cure is almost certain. Detection in time is what is important, and for that we've already covered. I will not repeat it again. So it is something which is curable. It is not your death announcement. So be positive, because a positive mind will help you to fight cancer much better. Because if you feel it's a ये तो मेरा ऐसा हो गया, and you start taking stress, it will be counterproductive. So be positive. Treatment is possible. There are very rare cases where it may not happen, but for women, I will say you've got a very good survival chance. And my oncologist, when I go to him for my regular checkups, which I still have to do for a period of time, he says, I hate the word survivor. You are not a cancer survivor. It's my
Wow.
oncologist who tells me, you are
Wow.
not a survivor. You are a fighter, and
Wow.
you conquered it, and you're normal now. You're not a survivor. You didn't survive.
Wow.
So mindset matters. That is for my cancer patients, whoever are fighting it. And retirement is another very beautiful phase in life. You can see me. People tell me I glow more than I glowed during my career, which means that retirement has been kind to me. And
Right.
you got to find ways and means of keeping yourself gainfully employed, engaged, productively creative. I think being creative is very important. You have to be creative. And it's not only PhD that I'm doing. Any workshop that I find is of interest, where I can go and learn something, even if I've got girls from class 6 and 7, I go and sit with them and
Wow.
I attend these workshops. And
Wow.
because it's a learning. So you got to keep the child in you alive.
So beautiful.
Retirement is not the end of life. You can, like you very rightly said, it's 2.0. So it's just the beginning of another phase, and it's up to you how you carve out your 2.0.
So beautifully said. I am so amazed at all the grit and all the, the way that you handled everything with so much grace and elan is beautiful. So thank you so much for all the lessons that we've learned during this podcast, and I'm sure people have a lot to get from here. People who, can do early intervention, mental wellness during the healing journey, during the retirement transitioning phase, and also, keeping the child alive, like you very rightly said. Learning, and now these days learning is easy. You just pay 49 rupees and get into a master class. So learning is easy, you don't have to travel. So thank you so much for doing this. Any last messages, please feel free to say.
Just stay happy and stay positive. That
Oh,
is that is the solution and the medicine for everything. You will not need to take any other pill.
beautiful, beautifully said. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Ekta.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
Deepshika. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank
Again,
you.
again, you had me earlier. Thank you so much.
And we'll have another one with Mr. Joshi. We need to
God
have him
bless.
on the podcast.
God
Thank you
bless.
so much. Thank you.